It's time for another edition of About Your House. On today's show, we have David Richardson and Mr. Roosevelt Pitts in the house. Both board members of Put Tools in Schools are going to be talking about the Put Tools in Schools initiative and what the future looks like. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. About Your House is also brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store that's been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us as we spread a little love. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of About Your House. We're here at the podcast studio at the Toolbox. What is the Toolbox? It's an interactive workspace in North Charlotte, up in the Dorada community. A lot of people that are new to Charlotte don't know where the Dorada community is. Well, it's up here. It's up near the college and IKEA. Most people know the benchmark called IKEA. And, well, that's where we're at. We're up on that part of town. And, what we want to do today is talk about Put Tools in Schools and the labor, not so much a labor problem, but mental health problem. Well, then I could take that on into several other categories as well. But the big point we're going to try to talk about, we're going to talk about, is what we need to do as a community to turn the tide back to the trades, about working with your hands, critical thinking. And I know I talk about this a lot, folks, but it's critical. And I've got Roosevelt Pitts to my left, and I got Mr. David Richardson to my right, and we're going to have a discussion here. Roosevelt Pitts, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ray Terry. It's great to be here on About Your House and be part of Put Tools in Schools.
First time you ever been on a radio podcast, whatever? Maybe?
Well, to this magnitude, yes, sir. Never been, did a little small things, but nothing this big like being with Ray Terry and Put Tools in Schools and About Your House.
Well, I've got to talk about Roosevelt here a little bit. Nothing, I believe the old thing that God didn't put us here to be alone. He put us here to work together, create together, and be a team together. I don't care what color you are, which country you're from. It doesn't matter to me. We all got to work together. And I'm going to tell you something. Mr. Roosevelt Pitts here has been a godsend to me, because we're over here at the Toolbox. And, well, David Richardson, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for having me over.
I appreciate you coming in. You drove in here from Gastonia area, Gaston County. No, you're Iredell County.
I'm West Lincoln.
West Lincoln.
Yes.
But you're working with the people in Gaston
County.
I
do a lot of work in Gaston County, yeah.
I got you. But you came up here from the west side, you might say.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming here and talk about this topic. But you were up here, well, have you been here twice now?
Yeah.
You've been up here twice.
Mm-hmm.
What's your feeling about what you see today up at the Toolbox?
I see a lot of progress, positive. So I see that you're getting things in place. I think going to be a lot of excited people, a lot of career exploration, if you will. I see a lot of that happening, and that's what we need. We need something that's going to motivate, inspire, and basically be the hook, if you will, to get young folks interested and motivated.
And folks, we need to do that for various reasons. And you're suffering. It's currently, after being in the industry for 56 years, I see a tremendous downfall in quality, knowledge, experience, professionalism. I can go on and on and on. In other words, our work ethic and our work arena is not what it was 20 years ago,
right?
To say the least. Now, what can we do about it? And that's what we're all about, and what we're going to talk a little bit about. Well, we're going to talk a lot about it, actually. Roosevelt Pitts, can you tell me where you're from?
I'm originally from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I come to Charlotte in 1983. That tells you how young I am. I used to manage restaurants, and I got transferred here. Opened up restaurants here with Hardee's, And
I didn't know you were in fast food.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did 25 years in the fast food industry. I worked at Hardee's when Jerry Richardson was just expanding to Charlotte. I got started out here on Sugar Creek Road with Shep Langdon at Hardee's, and moved on from there and got into the construction industry.
All this time I've known you and I didn't know. Now, you have brought up in conversation several times Hardee's and Jerry Richardson and what have you, but I didn't know you worked with Hardee's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I worked in the industry. I worked at Hardee's for about 10. I worked for McDonald's and worked at different restaurants, because that's when the restaurants was really about service and quality of food. And
what were your thoughts on working at fast food?
well, when I started out when I was young, out of high school. I did a few jobs.
So you started right out of high school.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a great example of fast food career pathway.
Yeah.
Didn't work out too well, did it?
No, it did.
It did?
Fast food worked out good. I mean, it's if you take fast food, working in, it's like a college, really. You're learning how food costs. You're learning how to do inventory, labor. You're learning how to deal with people. You're learning how to really run a business, because when you enter in a fast food industry or a restaurant, if something breaks, you got to learn how to fix it yourself, or you're going to lose all that money, because a lot of times that calling somebody else in to fix the plumbing or electrical or something like that, that cuts into your bottom line. Everything flows to the bottom line. You start learning about a P&L, and when that's your bonus is based on that, then you don't want anything to break. You want to make sure that your labor cost is down, your food cost is right, and you and everybody come through the door. They become, if you make them family, and that's what the industry and a lot of industry is missing now. They're leaving out the family part of the business. They feeling like the person that coming through the door or in your business owe you something instead of you owing them something. You got to give them good service, and that's what it was all about.
Did you? So you enjoyed working?
Oh yeah, man! I meeting the people, and most of all, man, met a lot of pretty
You
girls.
are a people person. Ain't no doubt about it. You're a people person.
And I love being around people, and that there's a song, "People Make the World Go Round." You have to enjoy the conversation with people and learning about people, regardless of
What's
where
the
they're
most
from.
important thing we do every day?
We communicate every day. Every day we communicate. You got to talk to somebody, and I'm a talker, buddy.
We teach that to the kids. We've been having work days, shop days, work days, call them what you want, every Saturday for the past, 2-3 months?
2-3 months.
And we've had some where nobody showed up. We've had some where 2 showed up. We've had up to 10, I think we've had. And the whole idea is to put tools in kids' hands. And I don't think a lot of people understand how ignorant we've become as a culture around tools and fixing things, repairing things. Mm-hmm. We're a replacement culture.
Yeah.
We just buy a new one.
Right.
We've lost the ability, actually, we've lost the intelligence to fix things, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
We've been dumbed down. And I'm going to tell you the age bracket, too, because I think this needs to be, I think it needs to be discussed, or at least well known. If you're 50 years old, you have been dumbed down and younger. Wouldn't you say so, Mr. Richardson?
Right. If your family, we still have folks that may live out on the farm, stuff like that.
Oh, rural. Yeah.
Very rural. And they still have some interactions outside in a mechanical space, in a where you fix things, where you do things, where you have things to do every day. But if you don't live in one of those environments, then you really aren't exposed to those opportunities of learning outside the class.
And therefore, if you were raised in a big city or a city environment such as Charlotte's deplorable as far as working with creativity and the trades and tools, and put tools in schools. It kind of says the whole story, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because kids, as we come in here on Saturday mornings, Roosevelt, tell our listeners what you've experienced coming over here on Saturday mornings.
We're coming here on Saturday morning.
Or for any morning, any morning for that matter. We just had a meeting today with some other nonprofits that hopefully will set up some other days that youth can come in here and we can work with them.
Well, we started out coming on Saturday, and I kind of fell into the love patch about put tools in school because it's about learning. It's about doing things that you always dreamed about, of using your hand, using your mind, putting things together, learning how things really go. And a lot of times people don't want you to touch the electrical socket or whatever. You might get shocked. Or if you turn the table saw, or you might cut your hands off. Well, move your hand out the way. And the thing is that we when I was coming up, we had shop, and you learn how to use a drill press. You learn how to use tools and things like that, and it gave you a sense of worth. When you bring the youth in here, even adults in here, when they start working with their hands and they got to think. We have a thing around here that, Mr. Ray is always think. And when you're thinking about it, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, shut that door, Roosevelt, please, sir. Excuse me. The thing about thinking, and I've told this story many times, my first supervisor, boss, superintendent that I ever worked for in construction, one of the things he would do every day was pound his fist on the table and say, think. And he would yell it. The whole construction trailer would rattle. He'd pound his fist on the desk. And I got so good at thinking, I could tell you what he was thinking before it ever come out of his mouth. But he was a great leader. He was a great manager, and he taught me a lot about construction. Yeah. He taught me more collectively than any other person I've ever worked for, along with some teachers I had, like my drafting teacher. But, speaking of the way we behave around the kids, I'm a little stern. I believe in the tough love principle because tough love just doesn't seem to exist anymore, does it?
Right.
Everybody's afraid to say something harsh to kids. And an event happened Saturday, and I'm going to share it with our listeners. I got folding rule. You know what folding rule is.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see many of them anymore. Well, I had a brand new one. And kids, to tell you how ignorant most kids and young adults are, and I say young adults, I give them a folding rule to, what is this? Open it. And they try to pull it like an accordion. Well, a folding rule, what do you do with it? You fold it up. Well, he broke one of the young career-minded gentleman here, 17-year-old, broke it. He broke it, just literally broke it. I kind of went ballistic. Not totally. I wasn't too bad, was I?
No, you just being Ray.
I just being me. Okay. That works. Yeah. But anyway, but he won't forget it, will he?
No.
No, he won't.
He won't forget messing that folding rule up. And then we had several other students here Saturday that want to take the broken pieces home with them. I said, sure.
Yeah.
Anything to help you learn how to read a tape measure, a ruler. That's what we're in for. So, but you know what? The only time you're going to learn anything, the only time you really learn something that drives it home is when you apply it.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Mr.
Yeah. And when you mess up.
That's messing up.
And you got to mess up. And people are so afraid of making a mistake. Right. They feel like they got to do everything perfect. Got to do everything right. No, that's how you learn. You come here to learn because you don't know what you don't know.
Go closer.
You don't know what you don't know. That's a fact. Well, once again, we're going to have workshops. And if you go to puttoolsinschools.org, look on the events tab. There's a calendar. And we're going to post all the events we're going to have here at the Toolbox. And we, like I said, we just had a meeting with several other nonprofits where we're going to collaborate, hopefully, and get more kids to come to the Toolbox for exposure to the tools.
Right.
We're not here to be to have a curriculum per se, and when you leave here, have a certificate. However, it's been mentioned to me. What's your thoughts on that, Dave? If kid comes over here and spends time.
One of the primary things we should be doing in our schools is career exploration. What are you interested in doing? What are your abilities? And how do we let the kids understand what those are and start building on those? And it's from your interest and your abilities that will lead you into the future of what will be my career. Okay, are you good in math? Are you good in reading? Are you good with your hands? and those will lead you into careers.
One of my questions to kids: do you like art?
Yeah,
because once you get tools in your hands, you become an artist.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And David, how many years did you teach?
21.
21.
Yeah.
Until recently, just last year, right?
Well, 2 years ago.
Explain to people about why and how it all works. For example, Roosevelt told me one day, he says, Ray, they don't want me talking to you. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Why don't they want me to
Because they want to keep us separated. Because when I come around you, then I start asking questions about HVAC. I start asking questions about electrical. I start asking questions about plumbing. And then when you start showing me these things, then I become, oh, wait a minute, that's not as hard. We put a 50 amp circuit breaker in, and when I watch Ray do it, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. I can do that, hot on hot. Wait, that all? Hot on hot? Then neutral? Wait a minute. And then we put the cripple nipple in, and it's like, wait a minute, hold up, this is not hard. Because Ray becomes a teacher, and then once Roosevelt learned, he goes and tells somebody else and make them want to come to the toolbox. Now they're excited. Now you got a bunch of people excited. Now all of a sudden Ray becomes a bad guy because he's making people realize that you can find your dream. And when you start empowering yourself and you start getting around other people, and they're like, wait a minute, David, what did he say? Oh, he does robotics, because as long as you're dumb, you can control me. But once I wake up and I start thinking for myself, I don't need your sympathy. I don't need your gifts. I need you to show me how to do stuff.
How does that play into the economics of the system?
Right. Yeah. Independence, skills, being able to control your own destiny. But
our schools get money based on data.
Right.
And this doesn't supply them with data.
Correct. Yeah.
Therefore, and they get their funding from data and test scores. Right.
Test scores.
That's what I want you to explain.
Well,
like you did out in the toolbox to the other people.
Yeah. So, our public schools have funding metrics. It's typically data, test scores, graduation rates, discipline, suspensions. All that data needs to be positive. So we don't.
Or if it ain't positive, you don't get money.
Well, you get questions, So, so if we move to skills-based or project-based learning models in our public schools, it takes time out of the day for standardized tests preparation, sitting at a desk, taking notes and learning things that'll be on the standardized test. So that's the friction, our system's set up for standardized data. Data is cheap and simple to get, and our funding metrics are based on that. And then when you try to go into a skills or a project-based learning environment, then you're taking those students away from the basically sitting in a seat all day. And that's where the educators are worried. Well, if I'm taking them out of the seat in a standardized class, then they're spending less time on task of learning the facts. It's going to be on the standardized test at the end of the year.
All centered around testing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way our system works. So therefore, we can't change the system.
Right, that's the friction, right? So, really the only way to get the change to happen is to change your funding metrics. So change the metrics away from data to the success of the student.
And I don't think that we've become overeducated, don't you think?
Yeah, and some cases, yeah.
And most, to me, it's all complicated because I go to the schools like, how do you get people in the trades? It's real easy. It's just so simple. It's almost stupid simple.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is show them.
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
See it. You know, but yet I've gone to these meetings, 6-hour meeting back in February. Got a bunch of industry people in the room, nonprofits, and said, how can we cure this problem of the trade labor shortage? It's easy. But we're going to have a 6-hour meeting to talk about it. And then the people talking about it, you know, and I sound very critical, I know, and I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm tired of walking on my tippy toes like I'm on eggshells and I can't talk, you know, about things. You know, it's horrible.
Right.
But you can't, oh, no, you don't talk about that.
Right. So, and that goes back to, you know, the two of the biggest words I'm hearing now in education, workforce development, is alignment and scale. So how do we
more education terms?
Well, yeah, but it's applied to I see more and more application of the education terms to the outcome of the student. So we know what a career needs. So how do we align the education of that student to start matching these careers? And that's very positive. Seeing a lot of change on the community college level. Needs to be some more. And then there's the scale. Everybody has finally woke up, just what you said. We need people in construction. We need people in transportation, healthcare, manufacturing. So how do we scale all this training, all this knowledge that we need in order to fulfill, 30,000 here, 50,000 welders over the next 10 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's the scale part. How do we scale that? That's a big thing that we're working on now. We have 58 community colleges in North Carolina. And those community colleges will not be able to educate everybody that we need in North Carolina. So we need to move the alignment back into our middle and high schools and to meet that requirement for the scale.
Exactly. But in saying it, and you're right, you're exactly right. But here's the problem with that. Where are the instructors coming from? We're so deep in a bucket. We're so deep in the dirt right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we're going to recover.
Right.
Because right now, for example, when there's a Saturday event or any event here, and I bring, 10 kids in here, 20 kids, whatever, who's going to teach them? Who's going to instruct? And I'm not talking about one trade. I'm talking about plumbing, electrical, automotive, HVAC, welding, and the list goes on and on and on. Well, one man, now, I know a lot of stuff. I'm not bragging. It ain't ego. It's just I've done a lot of stuff. And I can teach a lot of stuff. But I'm one man. I'm one man. When you bring 10 to 20 kids in the door, one man can't teach that in the trades. This ain't no classroom.
Right, and that's another issue that is going to affect scale.
And big issue.
Right. So not only how do we have the class sizes, but how do we have the teachers? And a lot of folks in education are used to having today would be a Chromebook or a laptop, a pencil, a notebook, and maybe a textbook. But so basically you can a standard test, a class rather. So math, history, English. You could just have a classroom with 30 desks. Okay, but if you're going to teach skills or project-based learning, then you've got to have a lab. Okay, you've got to have the equipment in place.
Got it.
Yeah.
We got the lab. They're easy to come by to that point. Keep talking.
Right, but the education folks are just now getting on board with that. Oh, we have to have something more and bigger than just a standardized classroom. So we've got to have bigger spaces. We've got to have tools and equipment there. And, of course, the trained people that can teach those things. So all of those are challenges to scale. So having a person that can teach the trade, having an area where the trade can be taught, Okay. And so those are some things that we're going to have to address as we go to scale these trades programs. So if I'm going to put more mechatronics, more robotics, obviously I'm going to need big spaces with machines and equipment and tools. If I'm going to teach HVAC or if I'm going to teach plumbing, then I need to have a big space. I need tools. I need this work. Those are some future challenges that we're going to also see as scale. Something else, we shouldn't be teaching anything in a community college that we can teach in high school. So we need to bring those successful models back to our high schools and our middle schools. And then our community colleges teach the advanced parts of that. So in most cases, 60% of the particular 2-year program could be taught at your high schools, and then your community colleges just fill in the top level stuff. Pivot. What's a skill pivot? What's a pivot? So that's when you change careers.
Right.
How do we address pivots?
And there's a lot of pivoting going on right now.
How do we address that? Upskill. What's upskill? So I've got a fundamental or an introductory base. Then how am I going to upskill that to project management?
I got you.
Okay.
These are all great questions that we need to address in this initiative.
Right.
But to me, speaking to you from an education point of view, Roosevelt, you've been around the world a time or two. What's the number one problem I see is industry, getting industry to step up. What's your feelings on that?
Well,
but before you do,
we're
going to talk about that in a minute. I got to talk about my sponsors here a little bit. Speaking of Rhino-Lift Foundation Solutions, Rhino-Lift Foundation Solutions, what do? Well, they're licensed general contractor in North and South Carolina. They go from the sand to the Rocky Hills of North Carolina. So if you've got a foundation problem in the mountains, at the beach, Rhino-Lift Foundation Solutions, your go-to answer resource for any problems you may have. Be it foundation cracking, settlement, crawl space issues, water intrusion, whatever the case may be. Give Rhino-Lift Foundation Solutions a call. Set up your free consultation. They'll come out, give you answers and solutions. Engineers on staff to make it done right the first time. That's rhinoliftfoundations.com. And let's talk about the crawl space. Not every house, you got slabs, you got crawl space. What do you think's better, crawl space or a slab, Dave? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I like the slab until you have to fix something under the slab.
There you go. So, but if you have crawl space or slab, doesn't matter what you got pests, be it ants, be it termites. Yeah, just because you got a slab doesn't mean you won't have termites. You need to have that house inspected just as much as a crawl space house. Kilo Exterminating, been on the scene in Charlotte since 1939, 3 generations old. That's right, 3 generations in one family. Kilo Exterminating, a great source for pest control. Be it whatever the case may be, give them a call. Go online, kilo.biz. That's kilo.biz. Now that we're in the hot, humid, dog days of summer, so they say, those crawl spaces need to be inspected for moisture, wood-destroying insects, critters, whatever the case may be. Kilo Exterminating. Kilo Pest Control. Kilo.biz. You got it? That's Kilo. Now let's go to ABS Insulating. They were on the show here a few weeks ago, bringing great information on the summer months ahead, how to make that air conditioner more comfortable, more efficient, less energy bills. Air conditioning. You don't fight temperature, folks. You fight humidity. A good balanced system will make that system a lot more efficient, a lot lower power bills, and most of all, a lot cooler and comfortable. Eliminate the humidity, you'll establish more greater comfort. And why do I bring all that up? Sounds like I'm advertising for a heating and air conditioning company. Well, I'm not. I'm talking about your building envelope, ABS Insulating. That's what they specialize in, insulating and air sealing homes. Also, they've got a gutter division. If you've got gutter issues, ABS Insulating. That's 821 821-4343. 704-821-4343. That's ABS Installation. Once again, family owned for many, many years, rooted right here in the Carolinas. That's absinsulating.com. Today's show, we're talking about put tools in schools, our solution to the trade labor issue. But my whole mission here is to affect lives, change lives, affect career pathways, change lives, change whole families. What's your thoughts on that, Roosevelt?
One of the things that we have to do is we have to put tools in schools mandatory. We have to make the trades mandatory. And we have to talk about it more. We have to talk about it. You know, you got people that have been incarcerated. You have got people that really that want to learn about tools. But we put this fear factor out there, and we downplay. There was a time where everybody had to go to college. But when you go to college, what are you going to learn? I mean, if they're forcing you to go to college to get in $300,000 worth of debt, when you come out of college, you dump down a box of rocks because you can't find a job. And the thing is that you go to college and you go to get a job at Walmart. But you got a 4-year degree. Mm-hmm. But now they're hounding you about paying back the debt. But if you learn how to get a trade, you can take it anywhere around the world. And people say, well, we need affordable housing. No, we don't. You pay me enough money, give me a trade, I can build my own house. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing.
It's like I was Aspire. Have you been to Aspire Trade High School yet?
I have not, no.
You need to go up there and visit them.
Okay, yeah.
We've now, Put Tools in Schools now has a relationship with them that we're going to, next year during the school year, we're going to develop a good partnership with Aspire Trade High School. And hopefully to inspire other trade high schools.
Right.
Because we definitely need to go in that direction, you know. So, but the toolbox here, the whole idea behind this concept is to be a connector. A connector of what? We've got a space here, to your point. We've got space, don't we?
Yes, that's right.
I think we got most of the tools, but we need industry to step up and supply some more tools, more equipment, more materials. Everything in this building is a teachable moment.
Right.
Everything. We've got light fixtures to change out, fluorescents to LEDs. We've got counters to build. We've got workstations to build. But most places you go into with new schools, you go in there all pristine and all organized.
Right.
How did it get there? They never let you be participating in the development and the planning of that. Roosevelt here went to tell him about your blueprint reading course. Now this is a great example of the education that you pay for.
Well, I went to school to learn blueprint reading.
How many years ago?
Well, it was in I graduated in 23.
There you go. Thank you.
But it was during COVID, and they told me that we're not going to have the blueprint reading class, but we can try to read it online. Well, that worked one day, and then the blueprint reading went away. But I got an A in the class. But I still don't know how to read blueprints.
Right.
So I come over to Ray, Put Tools in School. Now, Ray, I want to learn how to read blueprints. He rolled out a blueprint, and he started showing him how to read a blueprint. And I said, wait a minute, hold up. You mean to tell me I spent all this time in school to come over here for you to explain how to read a blueprint, and I get it? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I guess I'm trying to think who was the dummies. You know, was me for going to ask a question and not knowing array of Put Tools in School. Those are the things that you learn here, folks, with Put Tools in Schools. And it's a great place to be for anybody. You know, when I come in with the youth, with the children, I'm the biggest kid in here because we all learning. It's a thing, it's a sense of pride when you learn about reading blueprints, when you learn about reading a tape measure, when you learn about the safety parts of being in here. We don't just come in here and throw you in here. Everything in here sweeping the floor is a teachable moment. picking up a shovel, learning about different screws, nails. Those are teachable moments.
Right.
So that's what my blueprint experience now. Learning to put tools in school.
And you got an A in the class.
I got 2 A's in the class.
But you can't read a blueprint.
Oh, now you put tools in school. That class, I got 2 A's.
Well, I brought a roll of big developmental blueprints, big old roll, and laid it out there. And that was a good lesson.
Yes.
It was a good lesson for me because it brought me current. Everything's drawn on the CAD system today. Computer aided design, CAD. And I was curious if the blueprints would read scale, an architectural scale.
Yeah.
And they did.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
But they don't all do that. Well, they did. And then I brought it out an architectural scale, and I showed the kids in Roosevelt here how to read an architectural scale. And you didn't learn that in class, did you?
No, because we never pulled the blue. We seen the blueprints in a box, but you never got the opportunity to look at them. And the thing is that they make things so difficult. It's hard to read this, and a person that never read a blueprint, when they show you CAD, it's like a foreign language. You don't know what you're looking at. Right. I mean, and you can't learn CAD in 2 or 3 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever.
Oh no!
And they expect you to learn that, and they make you feel slow if you don't catch on quick. And that's the thing where when you apply, everybody say knowledge is power. Well, applied knowledge. When you apply that knowledge that you learn, you empower yourself, because once you learn, you say, well, I don't have to work this no good job. I can go get a better job and make and take care of myself.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's empowerment. And the happiest I personally ever am is when I finish a job. Seriously, at the end of the day, when you finish the job and you went over there at 9 o'clock in the morning, which I start between 9 and 9:30, maybe as late as 10. Why? Traffic. But I always set my sights when I go on a job to do something. Well, I'm going to be, even when we're over here at the toolbox working, we say we make a list of what we're going to do, and we go do it. And at the end of the day, we check our list and we get it done. Well, same thing when I go out to a job, same thing. Yep. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. Let's do it. I want to be out of here at 1:30. Then at 1:30, are we done? Wow, we made it. And then we walk out, we get a check, we leave the job. Clean it, and most of the time it's cleaner when we left than when we got there. And that's another thing we need to teach these kids, because I'm going to tell you something from my experience here in the past 2 months. These kids are not trained, disciplined at all in cleaning up their own messes. Now, are they?
No.
Mama do it for them.
But Mama do it. Well,
Mama say Mama do it.
Yeah. And I got to tell this story, and y'all can say what you want, and I don't even care. Had a mother come in here one Saturday morning with 2 twins, 2 little boys, AJ and DJ, because I couldn't pronounce their name if you told it to me. AJ and DJ. Okay, AJ and DJ, first thing, I didn't know they could talk. Why? Because every time I looked at one and asked them a question, Mama did the answering. Remember? First time she come in here?
Yep.
Her name is Angie. Angie, shut up. Let the kids talk. And that's kind of almost came out of my mouth, but I was nice that day. I didn't tell her. But I kept looking at a child, asking him a question, and Mama would talk. I'm not talking to you, woman.
Yeah.
What is it about people like that? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking, and I go into numerous houses and talk to high school kids, students, start asking them questions, and you know who wants to answer for them? The mama.
Yeah.
And I have looked at the mom and said, I believe I'm talking to your daughter here, not you. Please let her answer the question. And I have. Now, I bring this up because, and I got to tell this story here. This is a very important career pathway story for this young gentleman. And I'm going to share this with them at a meeting tomorrow. A gentleman heard me on the radio, heard me on the show many, many Saturdays doing what I'm doing right now, discuss this labor issue and talk about career days and trade career days. And he heard of one that we were having over at Queens Grand High School. He called me, emailed me, and asked me if he could attend. I said, absolutely. Who is he? My son, Matthew. I said, fine, bring him on down. Well, he did. And I met Matthew. Didn't talk much, but Daddy sure talked a lot. And Daddy was with him, and that's fine. And the first time I spoke to Dad, I called because I don't do texting when there requires conversation. And I don't think most people should either. I prefer talking over texting or typing or emailing or any other means of communication other than talking sucks. It just doesn't work well.
Right.
We would agree on that, right? Yeah. You know. So anyway, he called me up and talked. I says, by the way, why are you calling me? Oh, what do you mean? I'm calling for my son. I know. Has he got a mouth? Well, yeah. I said, well, then have him call me. Now, I've had this same conversation with, I don't even know how many parents. I says, why is it these parents have got to call and coddle these kids? And I'm speaking to another one right in front of me. Same situation. He didn't call me. Why didn't you call me?
I don't know. It's a good question, Ray. I don't know.
And I'm not picking on you. Well, yeah, I am too. Because
Sorry, I'm used to it.
But see, this is what. How are we going to teach the kids to be responsible if we don't tell them, get off your butt and be responsible? But what's the problem? Are you going to anyway? So let me finish the story here. So we did another career day 3 weeks back at Rocky River High. Well, they showed up again. And he's ready to sign up and be a plumber. He wants to be a plumber. Yeah. So Dad was with him, and now here's where it gets detrimental. So Matthew had a interview with the plumbing company, and the plumbing company met him. And bottom line here, he didn't make the cut. And you know why he didn't make the cut? Got any guesses?
Couldn't communicate well.
He couldn't communicate, relatively speaking, at all without his daddy.
Yeah.
So Daddy was the interfered. And another thing, during the interview, the student or the young man said that he loved what he was doing. He was working in landscaping. Well, if you love landscaping, why are you being a plumber?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to be a plumber, man, jump on it because you make good money and you should go that direction. And the company you interviewed with is a great company, and they will support you and give you a great career pathway. Yeah. But he didn't make the cut.
Wow.
So Dad once again reached out via email. Ray, he didn't make the cut. Got any other suggestions? Yeah, but you ain't gonna like what I'm gonna tell you. Get off the hind, if you get my drift. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
That's right.
but this goes on, and it reflects parenting of today. Am I close?
Oh, yeah, very close.
Am I close? Here's a teacher. I mean, he dealt with parents.
Yeah.
Why did you parents think you got to take care of those kids like that? God, they gotta work at it. They gotta make mistakes. They gotta fail. They gotta fall flat on their face and get up and learn how. I did, not once, but several times. Good for you. Give you character. But we're going to have a meeting tomorrow because I want to sit down, and I have yet to talk to the young man. And the young man's going to be my focus, not the old man. This is the young man's world, not the old man.
Yeah, they need to understand that they're going to be responsible for themselves.
Yeah.
Have to communicate, have to understand requirements. They have to understand that they're going to have to take criticism.
Yes.
Constructive or otherwise.
Yeah, and there's one I got to be. And here I'm sitting thinking of how to word something so I won't be harsh, you know. Why do I have to do that?
Well, the real world doesn't coddle. The real world doesn't hold back. Okay, so you're going to be put into situations and environments that are not positive. And you're going to have to deal with those and work through those and come out on the other side. And resilience. You've got to be resilient.
They don't teach that in school.
No.
They teach you to be fearful. Let me tell you a story that happened Saturday. Had a young man out here in Nazir, remember? He's sweeping. Teachable moment. How to use a broom. You'd think everybody knows that. How to use a broom. Not so. He's back here sweeping and he stops, comes over. There's a dead rat. Like the world just came to an end. There's a dead rat over here. And I said, so? Well, he said, well, I might be able to catch. I said, boy, you're spitting fear out of your mouth. And that rat, it was how old?
Man,
petrified.
That rat was so old it flattened itself out.
Yeah.
But that young man was so fearful that rat. Now here again, simple education. Did I walk over to him? No, I fussed at him about being scared of a dead rat. Did I not?
One of the things that we're taught to be fearful.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you don't know what you don't know.
Goodness.
And a lot of the things with parents and women, they try to live their dreams through their children's eyes. I don't want you to mess up. I mean, when you say I want to protect you, I don't want you to go through what I went through in life. Well, that's the wrong thing to do. Because it's like the thing is that my mother raised 10 children. I think she did a good job. I was more afraid of the police my mother than I was the police. Get the police. I'm scared of my mama because I didn't want to deal with the period at all. So, but the thing is that parents, instead of letting if your child fall, scratches me. Oh, my baby fell. He hurt his knees, or he hurt his scratch. He got a scratch. You want to get scratches in life, and tell people you may cuddle your child, or you may try to protect your child inside the house, but they got to go out and face the real world. And the one thing is that we don't want to hurt anybody's feeling by telling them the truth. And when you really tell them the truth, and the truth about the matter is some things that everything that when they took trades out of the schools, they created a bunch of ignorant people. Because you created dependency. And that's what
codependency. We are teaching in our education system, we're teaching the curriculum of codependency.
Yeah.
That's really what they're teaching.
Right.
Don't do anything unless you ask me first. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much it. Codependency is what we're teaching the kids. Now, I got a test question for any kid that's a senior, and he walks through the door. I say, have you ever mowed grass? You ever mowed grass?
Oh, yeah.
You ever mowed grass? You ever mowed grass?
Yes, many times.
Show me a kid that never mowed the grass, and I'll show you a doomed kid.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, I know that's relative. I know, but some of y'all saying, oh, that's foolish for you to say such a stupid thing.
Some of them could have been living in apartments their whole life, I guess.
This question's still right.
No, I get it. I understand.
Man, I cut grass at 10 years old. I was cutting grass making money at 10.
Oh, yeah.
I was pushing that lawnmower, and I was fixing it, too. Because if it broke, who was I to rely on? Take it. Mom, come get me. Let's put the lawnmower in the trunk and take it and get it fixed. Heck no. To this very day, I can fix the lawnmower in about 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Unless I broke the crank or something like that. And I've done that once or twice. We test the lawnmower now, let me tell you. And we never bought a new one. We'd go down the street and find one on the street. Like right now, summer started. You won't believe how many lawnmowers are thrown away because they won't crank, and you can fix that in about less than 30 minutes. We got a class coming up here at the toolbox. It's called small engine repair.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I got a lawnmower out there. We're going to fix it. and it'll take less than an hour. Now, it'll take more than that because I have to explain the works of the carburetor, which we're going to take off the lawnmower and fix. Clean out the jets and clean out the bowl, float chamber, because all it is old gas gummed up.
Right.
That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Take a little lacquer thinner, clean that puppy up, good as new. It works. Now, how many kids know that?
None.
It's like bicycles. Do you ever own a new bicycle?
Maybe one.
How about you? You ever own a new bicycle?
No, I didn't like bicycles.
I had one new bicycle. I was in the second grade. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, old bicycles, remodeled bicycles, rebuilt bicycles. We'd take 3 bicycles and make 1 bicycle. You ever done that? We're going to have a bicycle class here at Toolbox.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. Understand that concept.
Right.
Yeah. Put a wrench in their hand. There's a lot of kids never held a wrench in their darn hand.
Yep.
Don't even know what a wrench is.
Right.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. Well, let me talk about Floor Coverings International of Southeast Charlotte. That's Floor Coverings International of Southeast Charlotte. Great, great company, great service, great products, super professionalism, and they bring the showroom to you. You don't have to worry about getting in your car and traipsing over to a building somewhere when they'll bring it to you. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. And don't let that name fool you. They're not relegated to just one area like Southeast Charlotte. No. They'll come up and see old Dave up in Iredell County. They'll go Gaston County. They go to York, Indian Land. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Rowan County. Doesn't matter where you live. They'll bring it to you. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Go online. Check them out. Yourflooringteam.com. And let me talk about Queen City Home Store. Look, that's a beautiful store. Since 1952 in the Charlotte market, Queen City Home Store bringing you great products, great prices, great product selection. And I'm going to tell you, the staff is incredible. They're going to get it for you. Best possible price, best possible product to suit your needs in your situation. Be it furniture, be it bedding, media, TVs, appliances for the kitchen. They got it. Queen City Home Store. Go online. You can even shop online. QueenCityOnline.com. Give them a call at 704-391-6000. That's 391-6000. QueenCityOnline.com. Today, we're talking about education, the pros and cons. Like you hadn't heard it enough, we're just getting started. Yes, that's right. Put toolsinschools.org. Check us out. We got things to do. The kids are what we're talking about here. Mental health. I know one thing. Once you grab the concept of tools, repairing things, critical thinking, you'll never be without a job.
Yes, that's right.
Never. Because you can go pick up something. And the economy's not really robust right now, although they're telling a lie or two to cover it up. But the economy's not really robust, and there's a downturn I'm feeling. Well, my barometers are companies out in the field doing the work every day, such as McGee Brothers Masonry. When McGee Brothers Masonry slows down, that's an indicator.
Right.
And McGee Brothers Masonry is one of the largest, most successful masonry companies in the country. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. They're at every major competition in the United States each year. At Vegas.
Right.
They're there. So what's the answer to the economy? And your take too, real quick. Well, you don't have to be real quick. You can be real slow. What's your idea of AI? And how it's going to affect the playing field?
I think AI will could be a tool. It's something.
It is a tool.
Something that we could use beneficially. It will obviously replace a lot of repetitive tasks, things that are like coding and things like that. But it's also going to allow for efficiencies in manufacturing. So I think we're going to see manufacturing really being able to use this tool. Of course, prototypes and all that types of stuff. just untold stuff that's going to be able to be developed through AI. But going with that, then you're going to see some concentrations back in skills and trades. The skills and trades needed to support the AI, to keep AI working and advancing. So I don't see it replacing, I do see it replacing jobs. I don't see it replacing people because, as I said before, we can pivot and upskill people.
Yes.
And that's where this is coming. So we need to pivot people. We need to upskill people to where they are in positions with skills and abilities,
right,
to handle this. So I see it as a positive if we can get in front of it. And those are your pivots, upskills, of course. Going to scale with these education systems that are focused on student success. Do you have a trade? Do you have a skill? Do you have an ability? Can you apply yourself? Can you do the critical thinking needed to stay ahead of this situation?
We keep using the word critical thinking. You notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Critical thinking. And the reason being is because if you get a group of kids together, it's pretty non-existent. Mm-hmm. They're looking. You ask them a question. Their response now is their smartphones, more than not.
Right.
And therefore, why are these in the classroom? Mm-hmm. If we can't get kids to think, then how in the world do you get them to move?
Right.
I mean, this right here has been detrimental, and you've heard a recent report,
right,
that the cognitive intelligence of a child today is worse than it's ever been.
Right.
Never been this dumb. Mm-hmm. And that just used the right word, right?
Right. Well, but there's fundamental skill sets that we can develop. So,
good Lord, we all got them.
Yeah, but going back to something as simple as memorizing your multiplication tables. So, yeah, that's something you can definitely look up on your smartphone instantly. So, I don't really want the necessarily answer of 5 times 7. I want you to be able to develop the thought process to get there correctly.
Yes.
Okay, and that's a fundamental thought process. How do I build on that? Okay, well, algebra and physics and geometry all build on those basic concepts of how do I put these things together? How do I analyze them and understand them and come up with a thought product that I need? So, yeah, we can just have their smartphones tell us this stuff, but we need to develop the thinking capability, the critical thinking, if you will, to put things together and to come up with new stuff. So we're not saving anybody or doing anybody any favors by just saying, well, just look your multiplication table up on your smartphone. Now, I need that thought process, and I need that fundamental thought process there so I can start building on top of it.
Gotcha. Application is the way we learn. Roosevelt, you like math.
Yes, and math makes you think. It makes you got to be critical. You got to solve problems. You got to be able to, even if you don't. Everybody say, I'm not good at math. Why don't you just try? Everything that you're not good at, just try to be better at it. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're so used to not asking questions because we're afraid of somebody going to think less of us. So I think more of you when you ask a question and you learn. I mean, I come in here, I don't have the stuff. I've never touched the scene before in my life, but I ask a whole lot of questions. I take notes, and if I come in here and if I forget something, I'm going to call him or he'll call me. Because we have to do things where we got to talk about how was your day? How was this Saturday? And I asked the youth, how did you like it? Did you learn anything? Mm-hmm. But nobody wants to talk. If you didn't learn anything, why didn't you learn anything? What can we do to make these things better? Don't tell me I'm not there get along just to come along with this is Roosevelt House and everything's good. No, if I don't learn something, then I don't want to come back. I come here not because somebody make me come. When the children, there was a young man I pick up every Saturday. I said, if you don't, we have to RSVP. We have to go online and you have to register. If you don't go online and register, then call me. I'm not coming to your house because I'm wasting my time. Right. You got to let me know that you want to be here. And Uncle Ray is a good example. Hey, look, we got to know how many people that's coming here because we want to feed you. If we got 20 people and nobody registered, then hey, we're wasting money.
Mm-hmm. But we're about to wrap this hour up, and we need support here at the Toolbox for feeding kids lunch, supporting them, giving them what they need. We're also teaching basic cooking here at the Toolbox. That's every week. We've got something going on, depending on which day. Go to puttoolsinschools.org. We're about up with hour number 1 here. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with hour number 2. More about your house coming your way. My guest today is David Richardson, a retired teacher, educator, not educrat. He's an educator. There's a difference. We'll explain it next hour. Tune in. We'll bring you up to date on that. And also Roosevelt Pitts, another great addition to the Toolbox, and the staff up here doing great work, and we certainly appreciate it. So tune in next hour. We're going to talk about more put tools in schools and what we can make a difference. Tune in. We'll be right back.
All right.
Hour number 2, Ray. It'll help if I turn the mic on. Hour number 2, Ray continues his conversation with Roosevelt Pitts and David Richardson, both members of Put Tools in Schools. They're on the board there. About Your House is brought to you in part by puttoolsinschools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. About Your House is also brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store that's been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of About Your House, heard every Saturday morning on Fox Sports Charlotte. Download the free app, stream it live anywhere on the planet. That's every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. on Fox Sports Charlotte. Seen live every Tuesday morning, well, 90% of them anyway, every Tuesday morning from 10 till noon, and with a few exceptions along the way. Like today, we're noon till 2, but we're on there every week. Go to the the YouTube channel About Your House Radio and Put Tools in Schools. Facebook Live also every Tuesday. Tune in, download it, and play it again on Fox Sports Charlotte every Saturday. Tune in to Fox Sports Charlotte. Download the free app. Once again, you can stream us live. That's 9 to 11 every Saturday morning. I got David Richardson in the house along with Roosevelt Pitts. We're talking about, workforce development, labor issues, trade talk, working with your hands, your mind, critical thinking, all that comes into play. But, I bring up the big one for me, and that's mental health. We've got a mental health problem in this country, big time. Big time. Kids are lost. They don't know what to do. If we don't teach them, I always approached one time about teaching felons trades. As much as that would be interesting and challenging, to say the least, I wanted to come in beforehand. If we can train kids on the front end, then we can keep them out of prisons on the rear end. Uh-huh. What's your thoughts?
Well, Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop that was in Africa, he's passed away. And one of his famous statements was, we've got to quit simply pulling people out of the river. We're going to have to go upstream and find out why they're getting in.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay, and that was one of his statements. So currently, economic development, workforce development, community programs, state programs, federal programs, we're spending, I don't know how much money, pulling people out of the river. But yet, what are we doing to prevent them from getting in the river? And the term that the education community right now, or workforce development, is upstream. They're wanting to move at trades and learning upstream, which is into our schools. And that's exactly right. But with that also comes mental health. So the mental health of our nation and our communities is built in our public schools.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what we have now is the harvest of what was planted in our public schools in the past. It's one of the key statements that you hear a lot of educators say now as well. They bring it from home. The reason our schools are the way that our schools are today is, well, they bring it from home. Well,
and we're going to talk about that bringing it from home and why is it so bad at home?
Right. So what the educators are not seeing is they're not looking past their nose, but what is at home are folks that went to our public schools, but they did not receive a sound basic education.
They weren't educated. The parents of today, unfortunately, were dumbed down just like the students that are in the schools today. They were trained. They were conditioned.
So you can't teach what you don't understand.
Exactly.
So if I'm a baseball coach, I don't need to be a football coach.
Right.
Because, so our parents at home, the folks that are at home, they can't give their children that base education they need to enter into kindergarten because they didn't get it themselves. Okay, so
I get it. Yeah.
Right, so and going back to Desmond Tutu, okay, so how do we prevent these folks from getting in the river to start with? Okay, yeah, we need pre-K stuff and everything, but it's deeper than that. We're going to have to get away from our model now of education where we're looking at each student as a data point. How do we look at the data? What's their standardized tests? What does that look like? They're testing here. Well, their scores are low there. Let's look at the data. Let's give them some supports and some interventions. Let's put them in the EC program. We've got to go back to finding out, letting these kids, like Roosevelt and I talked about a while ago, start to learn stuff, start to explore themselves. What are you interested in? What can you do? What do you want to do? And at that point in time, these folks start doing little things that allows them to become successful and to believe in themselves. We already do it with sports.
Yeah, sports to me has become the big hook.
Yeah, well, and I've taught many different. I've taught wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, softball, track and field.
You did
so
all
I've
that?
coached all those.
You coached them all?
I've coached all those, right?
That's interesting.
And I've seen that success come to these folks as they, hey, you ran 4 laps around the track and you did it in 7 minutes. In 2 weeks, let's see if you can do it in 6.5 minutes. Oh, wow, I did that. Or I threw the shot put 35 feet last week. I'm up to 36.5 this week. Okay. And they start getting that success and belief in themselves. We need that in the classroom.
Yes, we do.
So we need to have that happening in 2nd and 3rd grade. So how do we get that success? So right now we're preparing for the reading test. Okay, in 2nd and 3rd grade. But we don't need, we teach them reading, but we've got to start empowering these kids with success where they believe in themselves. Okay?
I agree.
Okay, that's where
they're afraid to talk.
Right, and so the mental health starts there. And so we have more, we're even up to hiring psychologists. Oh my gosh, we're going to have psychologists and mental health. No, we need success. We need these children to be able, and back to what Roosevelt said a while ago, we've got to let these kids fail and then learn how to overcome the failure, learn from the failure. Okay, because you're going to get out in the real world and you're going to fail in the real world. You will fail in the real world. It's not magic.
Oh, we tell them here at the toolbox all the time.
But
it's
how do you
but yet it's okay to fail.
Right.
Matter of fact, I encourage you.
Yeah.
Because if you're not failing, you're not doing anything.
They're learning.
Yeah. So
you're not learning if you're not failing.
So as the coach,
fail forward.
As the coach, I didn't make the football team. I'm not a starter. I'm not on the 4x1 relay team. I'm not starting as a wrestler. I want to be the starting quarterback. Those are failures for them. Not for us. We see the big picture.
Sure.
Okay. But we don't tell the kid, well, you're just a failure. Go home. Don't come back.
Right.
No. Here's what you need to work on to get better. I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen this. You work on those things, and if they apply themselves and work on, guess what? They build on the failure. And
that's what we learn.
But we need that in society. We need that in society. So we've got to bring it, because not every kid's going to be in athletics. Okay, not so. Some people are into art. They like to read. Okay, and that's perfect too, because we're all different. God made us all different
with all different gifts.
And when we try to shove all of God's creation into a standardized test situation, it don't. Well, we're getting what we're getting now. So how do I address these? The variability of, I have to have different learning models. I can't standardize test people all the time. Yes, it's going to take money. Okay, but it's going to take less money to fix it.
I think
Frederick Douglass says it's easier to build up a child than it is to repair a broken man.
Yeah,
it's easier to build up a child than it is to repair a broken man, and we're trying to repair broken people, and it's going to save us money in the long run and build up our communities, our societies, and our country if we go ahead and start building those folks up when they have the ability to mold and shape themselves through success.
I agree. Agreed. But how do we get away? And you talk about money. Everybody says, yes, it takes money. I've witnessed them throwing money at it my whole life. They just throw more money. We need more money. No, you need to make the money we've got given you work. And it's not working. One of the reasons is because our education system is top heavy as heck in administrative people. And you're going to pay these administrative people, these PhDs, the educrats, that's the terminology for them, educrats. We're going to pay all the educrats all the big bucks. And the problem keeps on going.
Right.
So money is not the answer. The system is the answer.
Right.
And then the system's so warped I have teachers or educators coming in the toolbox here that bring the system with them.
Right.
No. Keep your system out of this building. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I've been there. Yes.
Goodness gracious. And why? Because they're taught that way. They're indoctrinated to it. They're plugged into the system.
What system? Like, give me an example that they bring in here.
I'll give you a great example.
Just curiosity.
I had 5 kids in here one morning. 5 kids. Okay. I had these little Leatherman. S&E Infrastructure brought them. Those little Leatherman things. Okay. Mm-hmm. Little promo, little Leatherman. You know what Leatherman tool. Leatherman tool. Little bitty one. Little micro. So I said, it'd be so neat to give these. Remember that day? I pass them out to the kids. Here, you got a little gift for you. Oh, man, them kids lit up, didn't they? Give them a little tool, open it up, open that little pair of pliers, got a little knife in it, I said knife.
That's right.
1.5 inch blade on the knife, just 1.5 inches.
Right.
Little old saw blade. Oh, it's a worthless piece of crap, to be quite honest with you. But it's a novelty.
Yeah.
And it's a tool. They never had one before in their life.
Yep.
Well, one of the educators came in and says, Ray, we can't give them the kids that. I says, why? They'll take them to school and get in trouble. Okay. So that's on you? If we sit, and this is what goes on. No, we can't give it to them. Oh, we're going to play that way.
So then it's your fault for giving it to them.
Yeah.
For them taking it to school. You didn't tell them to take it to school.
If you look at a child like I'm looking at this camera saying, don't take this to school, you will get in trouble. Shouldn't that be adequate to give them direction?
Right.
We're not giving the kids that ability nor that responsibility. So you're bringing your system in this building and it's wrong. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why they don't want the kids to have a knife, because they made everything so fearful.
Yes, they have.
Everything that you do, if a kid grabs a 2-inch blade or whatever, it's because, okay, well, somebody's told him and it's been put in your mind. And mental health, the thing about mental health is that it's not talked about enough.
No.
Is that you'll wait till a child gets in the 12th grade and you hadn't taught him any respect, you hadn't taught him anything about etiquette, you hadn't taught him anything about responsibility.
Yeah.
But so all of a sudden now you want to tell him or he or she, it's time to go to work. From the age of 5 to the age of 18, I hadn't told you to be responsible for anything. Now all of a sudden I want you to be responsible. That's not the way the game. That's not the way life's going to work. It's like the thing is that we want everybody to be a doctor. If you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer. You're not those things. Well, the thing is that when we were coming up, if you were in shop, you said, I want to work with my hands. I want to be a plumber. I want to be an electrician. I want to be those things. But they made those jobs seem so bad. Oh, you don't want a job.
Less than.
You're an electrician. You're not worthy. But if you don't have a PhD or you don't have a 4-year college degree, and you got people that come out of college looking for a job. That's looking for a job in what? You're going to find a job that you don't like, and half the time, some of the people that's in jobs making $200,000 a year hate the job and hate everybody around them. But if you're working as an electrician and you wiring something,
you're working with servitude too. You're serving purpose,
and it gives you a sense of pride, because it's like, no matter if you got a 12th grade education and you are an electrician, you can make whatever you want to make. But they don't want to teach that, because guess what? If we teach independence, I can't control you.
You can't be controlled.
And that's what it's all about. Less control. Let me tell you that I want you to depend on me.
Do you see what they've done? Do you see it? It's so obvious. We're all victims of this Ponzi scheme.
And that's what it is.
That's all it is. And our kids are the ones that are suffering.
Bernie Madoff going to walk through the door soon?
Could be. But, nobody can see it, but everybody plays along. You just play along. Oh, yeah, and you're going to show up on Saturday on the soccer field with my kids. We're going to play soccer, and I'm going to have me a soccer player.
Soccer star.
The soccer star, yeah, football star. And, speaking of sports, I've been to 42 schools, I think, to date, and I talk to a lot of kids and ask them, what you going to do when you graduate from high school? I'm going to be I'm going to be an athlete. In what sport? Football. Well, then what you going to do? They look at you and say, what you mean? I said, you won't last till you're 30. And then what you going to do? What do you mean? I can last longer than 30. Ken
Stabler.
What's the
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. Tom Brady played till he was in his 40s.
That's an anomaly, though.
Yeah, but that was Tom Brady. You ain't Tom Brady. But see, now Ray, why would you crush that child's dream? Oh, now it's on me.
Right.
Now I'm the bad guy.
Right.
You can't talk real to kids anymore.
Well, it's like, if you seen Jimmy play, do you think that guy's going to be Tom Brady? I mean, look.
Yeah. How many snaps did you take yesterday?
I don't know what happened yesterday.
Yeah. How many shots did you try to take at basketball? No, how far did you run? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to be there if you're not trying to be there.
But they got every child thinking that they're going to the pros. They got every child, majority of the children, thinking that being an athlete is a golden ticket to get out of poverty, to get out of anything.
Yeah. And it can be.
But
it ain't.
There's a million people trying to be shoot a free throw in the NBA. How many free throws are you going to make? This kid here can shoot 100 and make 99 out of 100. You shoot 25 out of 1,000. Are you going to make it? They're not going to look at you.
No.
So they say, well, if you tell the child that he can't make the pros, then what is he going to do? He should have been taught how to read. He should have been taught how to be academically gifted at the early age, because we all have it. But when you're using me to make money off of me, and most of the children that's coming up through the education system in high school, they're all there as ATM machine for the coach and for the school. Yeah. And they cheer these children on, and they know that this kid can't read.
He's got like a first grade reading level.
Right,
He's
and
like
so they cheer him on.
17.
Everybody cheer him on. Oh, you're the best.
So they just pass him through.
Pass him through to some agent that's going to make $1 million off him, then throw him back out to pasture.
And in a meeting this morning, we talked about the GPA. You hear that a lot in high school. What's your GPA?
Oh, Jesus.
Your grade point average is a GPA. Now, the grade point average, what's a good GPA? What is it, Teach? What's a good GPA?
Yeah, 3.7 and up, depending on the type of high school you're
But
at.
yet, the passing grade curve now is 50.
But when did that get in?
Recently.
At a 1.5 is excellent. That's like a 3.5 now.
See
Oh, my God.
what they've done? They've lowered the dumb down to 50.
So now if you get half of them right, you don't have to study. You just guess and you got
That's
50%.
where we're at. Whether parents, are you paying attention? I mean, what are we doing? And then you talk about how do they? It don't make sense.
Well, we're using data to hide, what's really going on.
Yeah.
We're creating the data. The students are creating data, and we are using the data to hide what's really going on. So, grade inflation is a big issue.
Yes.
All the way up through college. So grade inflation's an issue. Certain data we want to, all data needs to be positive. So some things we don't record or don't report to prevent the data from being negative.
Right.
And again, yet again, we're focused on data rather than student success.
Exactly.
And student success goes all the way back to our employer success, our community success, our family success, and the mental health of that individual. Okay, so all those other types of success that we need, we don't have those, but we do have positive data.
Yeah. And now that's what all the data centers are for. Now, you can laugh at that if you want to, but that's exactly what it's leading to, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the data. And the data is not going to make you happy, I promise. It's not going to give you purpose. It's not going to give you a career. It's not going to give you anything. And we got a problem. And I say we, it's collective, believe me. We have a problem. And the only way out of it is to change the system.
Get rid of the data centers forever.
Well,
They're not good. Data centers aren't going anywhere.
It's very dystopian.
Well, that's two different types of data. So the data I'm talking about is the numbers that we assign to students, your GPA,
right.
your EOGs, how many times you've been referred to the office, how many days you've been suspended. That's the educational data that we're talking about that we use to judge the school systems and things like that. But with that said, I think over the last probably 6 months, I've seen a real big change, a positive change. And
in what way, Dave?
Okay, and artificial intelligence is driving this, and it goes back to alignment and scale of our system. So we've had the educators' hands have been forced.
Right.
Okay. So we have parents now across the nation that now understand the issue. There's a tremendous amount of energy and interest in education today. And it's not public education, it's education in general.
Well, that word education has been bastardized.
It has,
but it really has. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say, but it's true.
But we're starting to see alignments. We're starting to see schools, education systems, districts starting to really come on the bandwagon with trying to get trades or career exploration type activities and skill sets into our schools. This is a big push. And it's the push that's coming from the outside. As we've talked before over the last several years, education won't change unless an external force is creating it. The external force is here. The external force is here, and it's parents, it's the community,
and industry.
So the external forces are here. So the alignment is critical. So that's why it's such a big issue. Me personally, and I wrote an article back on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago, I guess it was, where I talked about where should our community colleges be. And for me, we're going to see a lot of the higher ed, a lot of the 4-year degrees, they're going to die on the vine.
They're going away.
Well, they're going to die on the vine.
They're consolidating with other education, like Elon College. I heard today that bought Queens College out.
So that's going to create a void because in the past, going to college was the benchmark. How it got there, but anyway.
Money, cash cow.
Okay, so that there's going to be a void, and I see community colleges needing to step up. There's Scott Rawls down at Wake Tech. I listened to him and watched a lot of stuff. And he's kind of on the preface of this. He's doing a lot of great things. But I think community colleges need to be in the position of kind of driving the bus. Workforce development, economic development, kind of working with them, and then through the community colleges, we need to push as much of this skills things that we got upstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
To where we're doing career exploration in middle school. I mean, in elementary school. So when you go to junior high, you ought to have an idea of, I like to work with my hands, or I like to be in sports, or I like to be in the arts.
Right.
You need to have those understandings in there. And we need to start putting those fundamental skills in place to where when you get into high school, you can start moving into apprenticeships. And then if you need additional education about that's when you go to the community college. Community college should not be teaching anything that can be taught at the high school level. If you need a lab with 5 $400,000 5-axis CNC machines, I can't put that in a high school.
No.
I can put it at the community college, but what can I put at the high school to develop those fundamental skill sets?
To drive the train.
Right, okay. So I put that into high school level. I might move you into a manufacturing environment for 6 months, like an internship.
Sure.
Or okay. And then you go to your community college and you get the upskill. And then maybe 3 years later, you go back to a community college for another upskill. So that's where the alignment's going to have to take place. We're going to have to start strategically placing these learning conditions. So we got the application, learn, got the application, learn, got the application, even up to, and then of course on top of that could be your 4-year degree.
You can't get away from that college, can you?
Well, but if you're an electrical...
I know, but I'm being the devil's advocate here a little bit, but I keep hearing that pop up. Well, and even with these...
Well, but now...
Educators will not stop pressing college.
But I think about 30% of our population needs to go to college. If you're going to be an electrical...
Well, I'm not saying that they do if it's effective.
Yeah, like an electrical engineer.
Sure.
Or a mechanical engineer.
Absolutely.
However, I don't necessarily think you have to start out of high school.
Take it to the next level.
Maybe you've went through the community college system and you've worked a little bit, and then maybe 3, 5, 10 years later, then you want to get your mechanical engineering degree. Okay, and that's what leads that way.
Right.
So, if you want to be a doctor or an attorney, then you need to go to college probably right out of high school.
Sure.
However, you could do that route, and that also takes us this kid's really smart. He goes to NC State or he goes to Clemson. He gets his mechanical engineering degree. Okay. I've got this other guy. He's worked in manufacturing for 10 years. He goes and gets his mechanical engineering degree. Is this guy fresh out of college? How do I equate him to a guy that's had 10 years of experience?
You can't.
Well, how are we going to do that? We're going to have to at some point.
We're having to do it now.
Right. So how do we do that? So
slowly.
So what's that index? It's kind of like, when you buy something that's got the nutrition label on it.
Yeah.
or consumer price index. How do we equate these different levels of these different ways of learning? So how do we equate those? Okay, so I want to pay you a certain amount of money. How do you get to that money? Can you go straight into college and get that money, or do you need to work 5 or 10 years and then go to school and get that money?
What happened to being darn good at what you do?
Well,
I mean, seriously.
I agree with you.
You know, we're sitting here talking. If you're good at what you do,
right, get paid.
You get paid. You go with the flow, and life is good.
Yeah,
that goes right back to what do you love to do? What do you love to do? Because we're going. That's what the toolbox is all about.
Right.
Put tools in here, and you like electrical. Well, I might want electrical. And the great thing about the trades is you can jump ship.
Right.
In other words, I worked at an electrical firm a year. Roosevelt here worked in fast food for 21 years, whatever. Well, he's got a background. Well, if you're an electrician and you work 5 years or so and say, well, I want to jump over to plumbing. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, you got all the basic core skills.
Right.
You can jump ship my heartbeat in the trades. Mm-hmm. Can you not?
Right.
I did it my whole career.
So some of those...
Still jumping around.
Right. And so some of those pivots are easy and some of those pivots are not.
But your desire, your will, your attitude, and your determination controls your outcome, period.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're at. Oh, but let's go to the education format. See where I'm coming from?
I understand. Yeah, I'm with you.
But you're not educated. Well, what in the hell am I if I'm not educated after 56 years in the industry? You get me?
Oh, I know, yeah.
But you don't have a degree. Mm-hmm. We have made education super. And it's not. That's what bothers me. I think education's great. Matter of fact, we can't function without it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, you got two different definitions. Their definition's a piece of paper education. Yours is experience. That's where the clash comes in.
Like I said, it's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. Well,
why have we complicated it?
Break it down.
Money, money, money.
They got to bring it down. They got to bring it down because see, the thing is that if you talk to a Dave and he's an educator and he's talking about real life experience.
I know the system.
Ray's talking about real life experience, and we're talking about lived experience. See, the thing is that they're trying to raise a 2026 child with the 1960 education system. It's not going to work. You got to throw that system out. It's gone. It's dead.
Right.
And the thing is that they're telling the students and they're telling the students to slow down. We need to speed up. These children now, their minds is going at 1,000,000 miles a minute, and they're smart. But you want them to slow down, to dumb them down, because it's like, okay, this child, he's good in math. But you don't want him to he wants to be he's a mathematician. But you telling him to go sit in a corner because he's got attitude. He's got attitude because he's not doing what he loves and he has a passion for. Asking that question, Dave, what do you like? Nobody wants to ask that question. Because you know what? I want you to do what I tell you to do.
Standardization.
Do as I say.
And to that point, 42 schools, career days, I ask kids, what are you going to do when you get out of high school? I'm going to be a biologist. I'm going to be all these academically strong career pathways. And how do you know you want to do that? Well, that's what they told me I would be good at.
My mama told me that.
No, not my mama, to my counselor. And the counselor tells the student goes home to mom and daddy, tells them that. So now she's off and running.
Now she's going to go to college to be a marine biologist.
Exactly. I hear that. Coach. They've been coached. Yep. They've been directed. They've literally been directed.
The statement is, well, you want your son or daughter to be successful, don't you? Well, yeah. Well, let's go to college. Go to college.
College is a silver bullet, baby.
But it's the benchmark. How did it become the benchmark of public education?
In 1979, when the government took over education, that's when it really became effective. Right. Am I right or wrong?
Well, you're right.
1979 is when our government took over public education. And ever since, we live in this disaster.
If the government takes over anything, we're as good as screwed. That's the lesson here. The
Pretty
government
much.
don't do anything good.
You got that right, especially in the days.
Take your money. Oh, man.
Oh, they got no problem taking money. They sure
convert-
have.
then
They
they
got $1 trillion
converted-
in debt.
Then they converted it to the big cash cow that it is and gave kids the ability to sign a piece of paper and get as much money as they wanted to be to go to college and be successful. Did you hear what I said? Go to college and be successful. That's the format. How's that working? It isn't. Is it?
No.
It isn't working at all. But yet, where's your son going after he gets out? Oh, he's going to college. I mean, then you say, to do what? They say, what do you mean?
But
I'm going.
we've talked a number of years, and all of those years we've talked, and I have said parents are going to drive this change. Business and industry has to drive the change because the government won't drive it.
Couldn't agree. That's what I've been preaching for 10, 15, 20 years.
And so I'm starting to see that change. I'm starting to see the alignment. I'm very.
I knew there's a reason I called you in here today.
Okay.
We need a little hope.
Need a
little hope.
Well, it's more than hope. It's this thing's like a freight train.
Yeah.
If you don't get on board, it's going to run you over. So the alignment's happening. We're starting. The current administration is starting to put a lot of money into workforce payroll. We're seeing a tremendous amount of funding and grants and things like that. Right now, they're focusing on post-secondary. I'm pushing a lot of folks into the secondary funding, and it goes back to Desmond Tutu again. So to me, post-secondary is pulling people out of the river. How are we going to go upriver, upstream, if you will, and prevent them from getting into the river? So the next changes in funding, federal level, needs to put these align these workforce systems into our schools to where we're getting the career exploration in elementary.
Right.
We get foundational skills in middle school.
Right.
And we get specific skills in high school that allows you to move into an employment situation.
Exactly.
Or in some cases, you need to have additional education.
Yeah, that's true.
But it doesn't have to be right now. It could be in 3 years, 5 years. So the alignment, I see the pressure. So I don't really see. 18 months ago, I saw a flow. Now I see pressure.
Cool.
So I see pressure now.
Well, let me speak about my sponsors, and we're going to talk about what Put Tools in Schools is doing this year, coming the new school year, and what some of our approach is going to be. Matter of fact, Bart this morning, Noonan, he hit the nail on the head when he talked about the progressive nature of what we need to be doing.
Right.
And that's exactly what we want to do.
And you got to have somebody driving that bus.
Yes, sir.
Right now, we've got a lot of people on the bus, and ain't nobody driving the bus.
You got that right. Well, ABS Insulating can drive the bus when it comes to comfort and insulation to your house. Yep, that's right. Open cell, closed cell foam, insulation of all types. They got you covered. That's ABS Insulating. Been around town for quite a number of years. Do great work. ABSinsulating.com. Also got a gutter division. If you've got gutters, we're in the stormy, rainy weather of summer's upon us, and we need to control the water around your house. Water, your number one enemy. That's ABS Insulating for all your gutter needs. That's right. I said gutter needs. Give them a call. That's ABSinsulating.com. Floor Coverings International of Southeast Charlotte. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Got whatever floor covering you may want. They may have something you didn't know you wanted. You ought to give them a call. Laminate's coming back on strong. That's laminate, a whole new generation of laminate products. And it's said to be they've surpassed anything of the past. So check them out. That's Floor Coverings International of Southeast Charlotte, where they bring the showroom to you. That's right, mobile showrooms. Go online, yourflooringteam.com. Queen City Home Store. Man, if you're looking for furniture, bedding, appliances, media, TVs, man, they got you. Visit their new store out at Carolina Place Mall and out parcel down there. Actually, there's 2 stores in Pineville. Check them out online, queencityonline.com. And they've got the best price, best product selection, best price guaranteed in Charlotte.
How long they been in business?
Since 1952.
You don't stay in business if you ain't good.
They're great.
You don't stay in business if you ain't good.
That's a fact. Well, Queen City Home Store's testimony to that fact right there.
You can trust them.
3 generations in that building over there. We got grandmother, she is noted, they're going to put her on the Guinness Book of World Records. She's the oldest remote worker in the country. She's 94.
Wow.
And still working. I saw her just the other night at an event they had out at giving career awards for the greatness that they do. Chip Venture, Mark Elkert, and many of them got awards. Well, Miss Player was there, and I walked up to her and thanked her for all what the Player family has done since she's the queen bee. Who else could you thank? Get to all of them.
Amen. That's right.
So that's Queen City Home Store, queencityonline.com. And today we're talking about what I want to talk about now is what some of the plans we have for up and coming. Every day is a new day. I go with the flow. You never know who's going to show up or who's not going to show up. But one thing's for sure, we need more people involved. And we talk about getting into the schools. Where do we need to go? I've said for years we need to go to the schools. Where do you find all the kids? In the schools. How do we get into schools? We've got to align ourselves with Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. How do we do that when they fight us all the way? They want to, and I don't know why, and I think I know why. It's called money, right? Funding. We don't want to upset the apple cart, I guess. At any rate, we're going to buy and get what we need to furnish a trailer, to furnish a tandem axle trailer with projects that we can take out to elementary schools, we can take out to middle schools, and we can put in high schools. Doesn't matter. We can just gear the trailer up for whatever school we're going to and expose. We'll wrap, they call them wraps. We'll put signage on our trailer, on the truck. We're going to develop a presence in Charlotte where you see us. But see, the problem is industry has to be involved, or industry representatives from plumbing, from electrical, from carpentry, from all sectors that we show up and we address. Engage the kids. Engage. Don't sit there and talk to them and put candy on the table for all of them to come up and take off the wrappers and throw on the floor. No candy, no giveaways. And I would say no giveaways, but they think they got to give away everything to get these kids' attention. No.
What about a pencil, Ray?
They don't use pencils, Rishton.
Nobody writes anymore?
I've had 100 pencils on the table.
Really? Huh.
They don't take the pencils.
Shows how long I've been out.
They don't use pencils anymore. Folks, I know I harp a lot. I know I do, and I'm brutal sometimes, and I swear I love you all, but we got to wake up. 90% of the kids coming out of high school cannot read a tape measure. And the sad part is neither do the teachers. Believe that? Fact, because I've tested them. Leadership. Where are we going to get our leaders from in the future? Because we sure ain't teaching leadership in our education system. In no way, shape, or form. You can't find. Leadership is having gumption, having tenacity, having the willpower to stand up and say what's right and what's wrong. Kids are afraid to do as such. I know because I've been in the classroom and tested them. You ask them a question, they're afraid to answer, afraid they're going to get ridiculed or shot down. Am I right or wrong, David?
Well, we only want correct answers on our EOGs.
See, if you're not correct, you won't answer. You're afraid. Law. And the kids can't. And another fact, middle school kids, which, if you don't know, is 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. 6th, 7th, and 8th graders do not know what the trades are. Not in Charlotte. They don't know. And they don't know what the word apprenticeship means. Are you listening to all this? Like, this isn't a problem?
Well, they've got vocabulary words like relevance.
Oh, really? Like that's going to do a lot of good. Goodness gracious. So these are facts that we have to change. How? We go to schools. What do we need to go in schools? I told you, we need industry to step up and collaborate. If we don't, and there's another factor. How come everybody seems like they've got their own little niche? We're going to do it our way. We're going to do it our way, you know.
It's the not invented here syndrome. Not invented here. So most folks, if they didn't come up with the idea, they're not going to be in favor of the idea.
Ego.
Pride.
You know, and how come with all the associations we have in Charlotte, North Carolina, ABC, the Association of Building Contractors of the Carolinas, AGC, Association of General Contractors of the Carolinas, then you got NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction, you got NARI, the National Association of Remodeling Industry, and by the way, they got a meeting coming up last Thursday this month, and it's going to be at Constantino. That's NARI, the National Association of Remodeling Industry. I kind of tout their meeting every month because it's a great association. All right, I just named, 4 or 5 industry associations, and there's more. There's 4 or 5 more. Why aren't they stepping up? The PHCC, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Association. Why aren't they stepping up?
Now, I just went to Raleigh with Carolina's Associated General Contractors.
You did? How'd that go?
Well, talked to the folks there, great folks. They had a legislative day for their new people in there, but they're primarily focused still on policy on the state level, and not really looking at education that much. So they're not really looking at getting into the schools.
See what I'm talking about?
And
how are we going to change it with that kind of attitude?
Yeah. So, and we've talked about this in the past, and I see the 2 primary issues here. One is return on investment.
ROI.
So
famous ROI.
So as I've seen construction, manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, I've seen these industries try to reach back into our school systems. And again, there's that pushback. There's that resistance there from the education culture, if you will. So there's not been a return on investment there. And plus, people typically in the industry, in a lot of cases, are not really interested in training. They want something that's a turnkey type thing. I want somebody that steps on the job that knows. We were talking asphalt a while ago. I want somebody that steps on the job that knows aggregate size, that knows the binder, that knows the temperature, that knows the feed rate, that knows the pressure. I want that person to step on this road project tomorrow. Okay, or I'm running heavy construction. I want somebody that knows how to cut this grade and how to figure out this all this stuff. We want those. We don't want to train those folks. We want them to step on the job site tomorrow and start benefiting. So okay, but so they don't. Again, like we'd say, if I've got a reciprocating saw and that thing tears up, I'm not going to stop and fix it. I'm going to go buy a new one. And that's their mindset. And it's difficult for them to stop what they're doing to train these folks, to spend the money and to train these folks. They want these folks to come on the job site trained, and that's where we need to be. We need to be training those folks in our high schools. And we need to be able to plug them directly into a working environment. And guess what? Now they're making a decent wage. Okay, I hear it all the time. Well, I brought Joe Schmo on, and he worked 9 months for me in construction. I was paying him $18 an hour, and he went over here and he's flipping burgers at McDonald's for $22 an hour. Okay, if I can get them trained in high school, if I can give them a skill set in high school, to where they could start working at $23 or $24 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can do that.
And we can do that. And
we can do it.
And so
but industry has to play.
But industry's tried to play in the past. So we've got to have communication what the education culture has to do is we have to put together an education model that shows actual skill development, actual, attainment, not just a credential piece of paper, but actual skill attainment. And I can plug that person into an employment situation. They've been mentored in high school. Mentorship's big in construction.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, see, I mentor them in high school. So the mentorship's there, the skill set's there, and we're actually doing it. We're actually plugging them into the work environment with a skill set where they can start to be value added, if you will, to the employment rather than somebody I got to tag along and bring along. And then they're going to quit in 18 months. Well, I'm not at zero. I've actually lost 18 months. I'm below zero. So those are the things that we can prevent. But we've got to have something in place for business and industry to see it's not a return on investment as much as it's value added.
I agree.
But we've got to show that, and once we show that to business and industry, we'll have more money than we ever need. They'll give us everything we want because we're helping them. But they've tried to invest in the past. They haven't got a return on that investment. And they're gun shy. So we have got to put something in place that is a model that shows true attainment. That
it works.
Yeah, and the mental health part of it's there too.
It's all there.
Well, education is like a gemstone. It's not a coin. A gem has facets. It has many sides. Education has many sides. Okay, mental health is in there. Employment's in there, skills are in there. So this gemstone has all these many facets, and we need to put those facets together in such a way that it creates a gem, if you will, literal gem that employer wants to have.
Well, what we're going to do is create space here to address the adaptation to tools, working with your hands and your mind, and then we're going to send them to other learning facilities, apprenticeship, like Blythe Construction on North Graham here. Blythe, major, big, huge. Well, they hire people and train people. They've got an apprenticeship program, and we can send them, down there. Mm-hmm. We can send them to the Builders Bridge program that's got an apprenticeship program. Jennings O'Neill career academy. So, and this is a starting place.
Exactly.
And it works. But speaking of starting, let me talk about Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions, 2 young men. Entrepreneur spirit, right out of high school, jumped into business. There you go. They wanted to open a business. Josh Davis wanted to open a business. Totally transparent, honest, reliable, and 4 or 5 steps above most others. And right now, the foundation repair business has become big business in Charlotte. And why is that? We're talking about poor workmanship, poor building practices, inferior knowledge, not enough knowledge. Well, that's part of our problem. Why not hire a company that can take care of the inefficiencies we built in our workforce? Now, I know that's a terrible comparison, but it's a reality. Why do we fix foundations in the first place? Because they weren't put in correctly to start with. They weren't done correctly. Well, if you've got that problem, RhinoFoundationSolutions.com. Check them out. They've got all your answers. Subsiding slabs, patios, garage floors, driveways, whatever might be sinking, they can get back up into place. Crawl space encapsulation, water intrusion. Rhino Lift, FoundationSolutions.com. And speaking of crawl spaces, or was I? 'Tis the season for hot, humid crawl spaces. The most popular topic on this show for the past 30 years have been crawl space issues. Humidity, too much humidity, not enough humidity. Yep. Well, Kilo Exterminating. Give them a call. Let them be the inspectors of your crawl space. They'll come out and give you 3 to 5 moisture readings, no matter what size the house is. 3 to 5 moisture readings, and they indicate moisture content. That's Kilo Killo.biz, KILLO.biz. Check them out. Go online, give them a call. Let them be your pest control company. Killo.biz. Today we've been talking about, puttoolsinschools.org and what we collectively as a nonprofit are going to attempt to do about the issues around it in Charlotte. But my main issue is to help develop and empower kids to be free, to be empowered, to have self-confidence and a surety that they can do things on their own without having to call somebody and ask a question. Give them the ability, and that's what we're focusing on. Have you seen any results since we started the program here?
Yes, I have. I've seen the attitude of a lot. I've seen the attitude change of a lot of youth and adults come through the door. I think one of the things that we've talked about with industry, I think one of the things we need to do is get industry to tell us exactly what they want to train to. If you teach, and like David said, in high school, employees want somebody to come on, they can read a tape measure. They want to read blueprints. They want to do the core things. When they get on the job site, those basic things that they already know, now the employee has confidence. He want to stay there because if he gets there and he asks him, can he read a tape measure? No. Now he's feeling like, well, okay, I don't like this job. But we ask him before they get that industry, say, train to this right here. That's what you're training for in high school. Now you got a model employee because that employee now he says, okay, now I want to be a plumber. I know about that now. But we're playing guesswork with the employees. Why don't the employees give a list? Trained to us. When you come to Put Tools in Schools, it's an excellent place to come to learn and grow and to find yourself. I'm finding myself coming here on Saturday. Now I'm bugging Ray Monday and Thursday now. So
yeah, we're going to put together work days for these other nonprofits. We talked to What's Next this morning, and a nonprofit here in town that have about, 50 kids?
Yeah.
And we're going to work with them hopefully on weekdays this summer as a summer camp entity for them and work and collaborate with them. So, and that's the whole name of the game is collaboration. And that's one thing that the Charlotte community industry, don't do.
Right.
We don't do it. Have you seen that?
No, I'm not.
But have you in your county?
Oh, yeah, I see a lot, yeah.
People just don't collaborate.
Right.
I don't know what it is. It takes a village.
Truly.
It takes a village. And as we move forward, and I'm going to make a plea to the listeners and whoever might be listening to this or watching this podcast, we need support from the community. And in what ways we need support is people that have a background in the construction industry and that can help instruct and teach. Now, I realize a lot of people today hear a lot of bad stories about working with kids, and I've heard them myself, and yeah, it's out there. However, if we don't work with them, give them some tough love, we're never going to get beyond where we're at.
That's right.
And it's absolutely essential that we have, like if I have 15 kids in here and I'm the only one that knows the stuff, that ain't going to work.
Right.
That is not. What's the ratio in education? Do you know how many kids to one instructor?
In some classroom environments, such as English or something like that, it may be 32 to 35.
Well, that's different. We're talking for hands-on.
Hands-on stuff. Some classes may be 16, but it's typically up in the 23, 24, 25 range.
Gotcha. Well, that's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
With one person,
right? In
the hands-on skill,
right?
I'm willing to go out fighting, and what I mean is I'm no spring chicken here, and I've got a few years left, but the years I've got left, I'm willing to give it my all and see how I can personally help some children in a career pathway that's going to give them security in a career. I think that's what we all want.
Right. The individual success.
Yeah, we got a garden to plow, so to speak. And this summer's what our plans this summer here at the Toolbox are: create a learning space that we can bring. We got a classroom, we got a workspace, we've got everything we need except for industry. Milwaukee Tools came into building last week, said they'd work with us. Looking forward to that. We need other industry to step up. We've got to provide an infrastructure of electrical in the toolbox because all the tools, all the equipment take power. And we need to develop relationships and partnerships with various trade organizations to perpetuate growth and career opportunities. And what's your outlook, Mr. David?
Well, again, from my standpoint, it's positive. We're starting to see the alignment happening public-wise. I see a tremendous growth in homeschool. So, and to me,
that indicates the lack of desire to have your kids in the public school system.
To me, the Cadillac should be the public system. It's not there now. It needs to be corrected. It needs to be fixed. But that's part of the parent pressure that they're willing to take their kids out.
Right.
I'm continuing to see state and federal interest in other education systems, and I know the state of North Carolina is looking for alternate education systems as well. So next 5 years are going to be unbelievable.
Thank you both for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Next week, we're going to talk, general construction, remodeling, home improvement, what have you, right here on About Your House every Saturday, 9 to 11 on Fox Sports Charlotte. Roosevelt, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to Roosevelt, to everybody. This man really has been an incredible addition to Put Tools in Schools, and we certainly appreciate the work he's done. Thank you, Dave, for driving over here from Iredell County. And like I said, tune in every Tuesday. We do live podcasts every Saturday, downloaded to Fox Sports Charlotte. And we join us every week as we discuss. Today we discuss the biggest problem we all face, and that's our tomorrow, our future. Who you going to call to fix your house? Well, tune in. We'll help guide you. See you next week right here on About Your House.